Did you know that there is only one food preservation method that actually makes your food healthier for you? That is fermentation. And it takes something like the humblest, cheapest vegetable on earth, like the humble cabbage, and it turns it into an absolute superfood for just a couple of dollars a jar and a few minutes worth of work. If you're like me and you're going into late fall and realizing that's also cold and flu season, then you're gonna wanna check this out because fermenting your food gives you a huge immune boost, and it can be the thing that you need to get you through the holiday season, bad eating, and cold and flu season, and still stay healthy. When you turn your cabbage into sauerkraut, you actually give the good bacteria, those lactobacillus, a chance to really start to grow. Now, those good bacteria, they create acid, and that acid actually preserves your cabbage and changes it into what we know as sauerkraut. It also, though, is really good for you, and it increases the nutrition in that sauerkraut. That good bacteria also helps with your immune boosting because it goes down into your gut and just makes your gut work so much better. It is a powerhouse for immune boosting. Before we can get into actually fermenting, we need to talk about one more thing, and that is salt. If you've ever looked online, you've probably seen all of the complicated charts and graphs and numbers and weights and all of those things. But you guys, we don't need to overthink it. It's actually really simple. For those of you guys who absolutely love the math, here's what's going on. In sauerkraut making, we're usually looking for something that's called a 2% brine. That means for every 1,000 grams of cabbage, that's about 2.2 pounds. You're looking for about 20 grams of salt, which is about a tablespoon. Now, you can get really complicated and weigh everything out, or you can be like me and like the thousands of other homesteaders who have come over the last several thousand years who didn't have access to scales and just kind of roughly used a rule of thumb. If you're going to a grocery store and you find what you would consider a medium-sized cabbage, know that that's probably about 3.5 to 4 pounds. You're going to be looking at 1.5 to 2 tablespoons of a good quality salt, fine salt. You know, they used to say that you were looking for something that was as salty as tears. So you can taste it and you can see. For me, I like to just kind of shred it up and put some salt in based on what I think the size of the cabbage is. When you make sauerkraut, you want to shred your cabbage as finely as possible without getting too, concerned about it being perfect. So nice fine shreds is the best because that's going to turn into sauerkraut a lot faster just because it'll have a lot more surface area. Now, I deem that about a 4-pound cabbage. It looked like a medium-sized cabbage to me. So I'm going to go with about 1.5 tablespoons of a really good quality fine sea salt. Now, this is a Redmond sea salt. It doesn't have any whiteners, any bleaches, no extra sugars in it, no iodine, anything like that. So that's exactly what you're looking for. And then we just want to get this really well blended up. Now, you have a couple of different options when you're making sauerkraut. Some people will actually sit here and pound the sauerkraut. In fact, I have an old-fashioned sauerkraut pounder that you can use exactly for that. And when we're talking about pounding, I mean literally pounding. Now, you can do that if you want to, but here's the secret. If you just let the salt sit on the cabbage in a couple hours, it'll do all the work for you and you don't actually have to pound it. So my favorite thing to do is to just cover this, walk away, and come back in a couple hours and let time do the work. So you can see our cabbage has been sitting here for a couple of hours now, and you can see how much it has changed. That salt has just started to work on it, and it's actually started to pull out all that liquid in the bottom. that is exactly what we want to see. So now we're going to get this packed into a jar so it can start its fermentation process. So this is just a clean jar. And the thing that you want to know is that you want to get this packed in there really, really tight. You want to press out all of that liquid. So you can take a wooden spoon, or if you have something like a sauerkraut pounder, and you can just give it a few tamps right between every single layer that you put in there, just to get it really nice and tight. Now, as this ferments, it's gonna expand a little bit, which means the liquid is gonna have the tendency to want to come up out of the jar. So you don't wanna fill your jar all the way full. You wanna give yourself a lot of space so that when that happens, you don't end up with brine all over your kitchen counter. One of the most handy tools there is for fermenting are these glass fermentation weights. They just help to keep all of the solid parts of your sauerkraut underneath the brine level, which is really important when you're fermenting because anything that floats to the top has a tendency to mold. Okay, don't forget about all of the liquid brine that you already have in that bowl. This liquid level is way down here, so that cabbage is not all the way under liquid, which is really important during the fermenting, but that's okay because we're letting time work to pull out all that liquid. So by tomorrow morning, this should be completely submerged under liquid. If it's not, that's okay. Just top it off with some really clean water. Just go ahead and put your lid on loosely. The good news is you don't have to stick with just one flavor of sauerkraut. There's a bunch of other amazing flavor combinations that you might love. So let's go check them out. One of my favorite variations is adding in a couple of chopped jalapeños, 1 or 2 small chopped sweet apples. Oh, makes it so good. With a couple of tablespoons of some freshly minced ginger. Just mix it all up and proceed like you would with normal sauerkraut. Our family favorite this summer has become a fresh dill and garlic sauerkraut. So I just put about a 1/4 cup of each one right on into my cabbage and mix it up and proceed as normal. Or you can try a classic Latin American sauerkraut, which is a curtido, by adding a couple of tablespoons of fresh oregano, a couple of shredded carrots, and about half of a shredded onion. Now I'm gonna set these jars into a side tucked away spot in my kitchen for about a week. And they're gonna go through a lot of changes. They're gonna get a little bit cloudier, the liquid is gonna get bubbly in them, and the liquid is gonna grow, which is why we've left so much space in each of these jars. Now I usually go ahead and set these into a casserole pan or something like that, just so I don't end up with a flood in my kitchen just in case. But after you see that liquid level start to drop back down and the bubbles slow down, you'll know that you'll be ready to taste them. I know what some of you guys might be thinking right now. Am I gonna mess this up and end up making somebody sick? I have to tell you, the first time that I actually tried fermenting something, I was so scared about it that I actually didn't even eat it. I ended up giving it away to a friend. The funny thing was, is she was so concerned about her first ferment that she gave me hers and I ate hers because it felt safer to eat something from somebody else. The reality is when it comes to fermenting, that if you use the right amount of salt and you use a clean jar to start, it's actually incredibly safe. That's because those good bacteria create a really acidic environment, and that acidic environment just keeps the bad guys out. So learn to trust the process. It works, and it's seriously one of the safest food preservation methods out there. After about a week of your fermenting, your sauerkraut fermenting, you'll want to move it to a cool spot. Now that could be your refrigerator, or it could be anywhere that you can keep it above freezing, but below about 55 degrees. That's gonna keep it in great shape. So go ahead and give it a taste before you do it and make sure that you love it. So whether you're looking to boost your immunity or just add a little delicious crunch to your plate, this is the project for you. It is so budget friendly and so health friendly. So remember, you guys, you can do this. You don't need to do it alone. And if you want to learn about any other ferments that you can make at home, check out this video right here.